Did you know an entire ship's crew vanished into thin air, leaving behind a mystery that still haunts us today? In December 1872, the merchant ship Mary Celeste was found drifting perfectly intact in the Atlantic Ocean. But something was terribly wrong. No crew aboard. Fresh food still sat on tables, cargo completely untouched, the captain's bed still warm to the touch. The ship's log ended mid-sentence, as if someone just stopped writing and disappeared. The lifeboat was missing, but the ship was completely seaworthy with months of supplies remaining. No signs of struggle, valuable cargo left behind, personal belongings scattered as if the crew vanished mid-task. 150 years later, we still have no idea what happened to those 10 souls. Picture this. Authorities nailing shut the doors of your home while your family is still inside. Philadelphia, 1793. Yellow fever swept through the city like wildfire. The wealthy fled immediately, abandoning the poor to face death alone. City officials painted red X marks on infected houses, then boarded up the doors. Entire families were trapped inside with their dying relatives. Healthy children locked in with fever-stricken parents, slowly starving. The stench of death filled whole neighborhoods as bodies piled up inside sealed homes. Desperate families clawed through walls trying to escape their wooden prisons. 10% of the population died in just 4 months. The cruel truth? Quarantine killed as many as the disease itself. Families pounded on sealed doors until the sounds finally stopped. This nightmare shaped every quarantine protocol we use today. Did you know a single shipwreck changed the fate of England forever? In November 1120, the White Ship prepared to carry England's royal court across the English Channel. On board was Prince William, King Henry's only legitimate heir, along with 300 nobles. The crew had been drinking all day, celebrating their unsinkable vessel. But as they raced through the darkness, the ship struck hidden rocks. Within minutes, the White Ship was sinking into freezing water. Desperate screams echoed across the channel as nobles drowned one by one. Only one man survived to witness Prince William's final moments. The heir realized he was about to die, and with him, England's future. That single night triggered decades of civil war. One drunk crew, one shipwreck, an entire kingdom torn apart. The survivor carried that guilt until his death. England would never be the same. Did you know America's deadliest theater disaster happened in a building advertised as absolutely fireproof? On December 30th, 1903, over 2,000 people packed Chicago's Iroquois Theater for a Christmas fairy tale performance. The theater boasted state-of-the-art safety features and fireproof materials throughout. Then during the second act, a spotlight ignited a stage curtain. The supposedly fireproof asbestos curtain burst into flames, filling the theater with toxic smoke. Panic erupted as families rushed for exits, but the doors opened inward, trapping everyone inside. Within minutes, 600 people died, many crushed in stairwells with bodies stacked 6 feet high. The fireproof theater had become a tomb. Greed had triumphed over genuine safety, and the holiday matinee turned into America's worst theater tragedy. Did you know 146 workers died in 18 minutes because their bosses locked the doors? March 25th, 1911, the Triangle Shirtwaist factory in New York City. Young immigrant women worked at their sewing machines, cutting fabric scraps on the 9th floor. Then fire erupted from the waste bins below. Workers ran to the exits, but the doors were locked from the outside. Management had chained them shut to prevent breaks and theft. As flames spread, women pounded desperately on the steel doors. The fire escape collapsed under their weight. Some chose to jump rather than burn alive. Bodies piled up behind the blocked exits, while owners escaped through their private stairwell. This tragedy finally forced America to pass workplace safety laws. The doors that killed them changed everything. Did you know trusted doctors once injected patients with plutonium while calling it vitamins? In 1945, as the Manhattan Project ended, government scientists had a terrifying question. What does radiation actually do to the human body? So they chose 18 patients from hospitals across America. Poor people, minorities, anyone society wouldn't miss. Doctors told them they were receiving vitamin treatments for their illnesses. Instead, they injected them with uranium and plutonium. Within weeks, the patients began deteriorating rapidly. Radiation burns covered their skin. Their organs started failing. When they asked why they felt worse, doctors lied again. These people died in agony, never knowing what killed them. The experiments stayed classified for 50 years. Their families never learned the truth. Did you know a killer once lived with 6 corpses for nearly a week, calmly going about daily chores? In March 1922, the Gruber family lived on an isolated farm in Bavaria called Hinterkaifeck. For weeks before their deaths, they reported strange footprints in the snow leading to their house, but never away. They heard ghostly footsteps in the attic every night. On March 31st, someone killed all 6 family members with a farming tool called a mattock. But here's the disturbing part. For days after the murders, neighbors saw smoke rising from the chimney. Someone had fed the livestock, eaten meals from their kitchen, and slept in their beds. The killer stayed in the house with the rotting bodies for nearly a week. 100 years later, this case remains completely unsolved. Over 100 suspects investigated, but no one was ever arrested. The murderer simply vanished into history. Did you know an entire town of 29,000 people vanished in a single night? For months, the Nevado del Ruiz volcano had been rumbling above Armero, Colombia, but officials assured residents they were safe. No evacuation was needed. On November 13, 1985, the mountain finally erupted. Molten rock melted ancient glaciers instantly, creating a wall of mud, rocks, and debris. This deadly mixture raced down the slopes at 40 miles per hour, thick as concrete. At 11 p.m., the sleeping town had no warning sirens, no time to run. The mud flows swallowed everything in minutes, trapping victims up to their necks. As the slurry hardened like cement, survivors could hear voices calling for help. For days, those cries echoed across the buried town as people slowly died of exposure. When dawn broke, 23,000 souls had disappeared beneath the mud. Colombia's worst natural disaster happened while the world slept. Did you know there's a town in Pennsylvania where the ground itself has been on fire for over 60 years? In 1962, Centralia seemed like any ordinary mining town, until a simple trash fire ignited the coal seam beneath their feet. What started as burning garbage became an unstoppable underground inferno. Sidewalks grew too hot to walk on. Deadly carbon monoxide seeped through basement floors. Roads cracked open, revealing glowing pits of hellfire below. The government eventually gave up and bought out the entire town. Today, Centralia is a smoking ghost town where steam rises from snow-covered streets. Only a handful of residents refuse to leave their burning home. The fire continues consuming Pennsylvania from below and won't stop for another 250 years. An entire town sacrificed to an endless flame. Did you know a serial killer attended every single funeral of his victims and nobody noticed for years? They called him the mourner killer. After each murder, he would quietly slip into the back of funeral services, watching families grieve over the bodies he had left behind. He blended perfectly with other mourners, appearing to care deeply about the tragedy. For years, he stood among crying relatives and friends, completely invisible, until one detective started studying funeral photographs from each crime scene. The same face appeared in every single photo. Always in the background, always watching, always grieving. That's when his twisted ritual finally unraveled. He had been hiding in plain sight, feeding off their pain. Sometimes the most dangerous predators are those who pretend to mourn alongside you,